welcome everyone here. We're at our Blademaster panel, The Edge of Greatness. We have the Blademasters present and Armageddon here. We are going to move this way so we can be better in panel. If for any reason you guys cannot hear us or have issues hearing us, please raise your hand. We'll speak louder or clearer, or you may come closer to us. We are very much a raise your hand, we'll answer questions in this situation. And don't be feeling afraid that you want to ask a question. All questions are good. It might be a situation where we may answer that question later on in our talk. So if that does, we'll let you know. Many of us are here as apprentices as well. So if you're an apprentice, please raise your hand. You may also ask them those questions as well. So I'm going to just go down the line and talk about who we are just real quick. You want to start over here at the end?
Yeah, I'm Evias. I've been fighting for about 20 years now. The House of the Smoking Mirror. Yeah, hello Blademaster. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Luster. I've been fighting for about 17-ish years. My house is Visceral Distortion. Our kind of motto is an eye for two eyes. And yeah.
And I'm Blademaster Bolvar. I've been fighting for about 12 years in foam. I've been getting into Boo-Hurt, steel fighting for about 4 years as well. I'm also Blademaster of the House of the Smoking Mirror with Evias, one of the initial wave of graduates, and stay with Smoking Mirror. And that's over the Fox.
I'm Blademaster Squire Fox. I've been fighting since 2013. I'm really a proponent of educating and teaching the public about a lot of different things. I just taught a course about how to teach others. I have it recorded, it'll be up soon. I'm kind of the MC for this panel.
I'm Ragefire. I've been fighting for 15 years. I started house burning Juyo. Our house is about fighting outnumbered and dueling.
Yep, Blademaster Feyne. It's going on 17 years for me. House of Death Crash. Can't get in the way. We're gonna kill you. Love killing. Fight. Sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Sportsmanship.
Yes, Dan.
Cannot hear Feyne. So, that's all I got. House Death's Grasp. 17 years for fighting. We like sportsmanship, fighting hard,
Yeah.
and killing you.
I forgot to mention that I'm part of the House of the Silver Eclipse. We're just going to go through some of our main talking points, and we're going through a large Q&A session with you guys, and then we'll do some spars with you guys or spars with everyone here. After those spars are going to finish, we are going to try to run one of the trials for Blademaster apprentices in this area. You guys are welcome to participate in that as well. So we want to start with Rage. We're talking about what does it mean to be a Blademaster?
What does it mean to be a Blademaster? The first thing is you are educating people. There's a lot of responsibility when red fighting. It is one of the more dangerous things on the field. There's not a question of if, but when you're probably going to hurt somebody if you're fighting as hard as you can. Back in the day, there was no literature or teaching material for red fighting when I was getting into it. So I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember internet forums, but before Facebook, there was a Dagahir forum, and there was something on there called the Red Thread, and I think Evias may have started it, but he was definitely in there, and it was like 20-page long thread just about red fighting. It was like the only thing I ever found about red fighting. So nobody was on those forums at the time. I was just digging through old shit. But I took that idea and we started a Facebook group called the Brotherhood of Red just to get conversation going and to connect, because foam fighting is very big, but it's a lot of isolated pockets. So we started that group. That's how we met people like Evias, Dak, Axius, a lot of these older red fighters. And red fighting kind of blew up around that time, 2011, 2012. And when we saw how many people were getting into red, and some of it was unsafe, or they were seeing people very good at it and trying to imitate them and hurting themselves or other people, we had a meeting at Ides of March in 2016 to take it upon ourselves to kind of form this and take responsibility for it and start teaching people and put that groundwork and framework there that was never there for us. A lot of us figured this out on our own and came up with similar ideas just across the country. So we just wanted to create like an academy type thing, like somewhere and some people that you can see and recognize and come and learn from in a way, because it was frowned upon and it was just not legitimized for a very long time. So it's to legitimize it, it's to perpetuate teaching, and to make it look cool as well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that.
We're gonna go through missions and values of the Evias.
Missions and values. Well, I'm very uncorporate, so that's a tough topic for me. But I think like at the core of sort of what we're after is the pursuit of excellence, right? So wacky bat, foam sword game, wild and weird. Anything that you pursue, you should just like treat with the respect that it has. You're spending time on it, own it, strengthen around it, and also like find a way to improve yourself personally. So the way that I look at it is sort of like a gender neutral fraternity is really having a group of peers that'll help keep you in check, help you achieve excellence, and just like develop a standard for us all to kind of live by. And it ain't perfect. Like I've definitely blasted people in the face, probably changed the way they think, but we need to just to keep bettering it with every generation as we pass it on. I think that's kind of that's what it is to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a peer system and building up leadership within the community, right? Everyone has an opportunity to be influential within this field, within the community, and you're trying to take owning of that opportunity and molding other fighters around you to be able to do the same. Ragefire stress being able to be safe, but also be confident on the field. There's many situations where you're going to have to overcome a lot of obstacles, either on the field or off, and to have peers here that can help work you through that and challenge you and push you to persevere in those intense situations is another big piece of why we're trying to do this. Steel sharpens steel, and that's definitely what we're here to try to do, is to make sure that you can be fortified through that grinding and the pursuit of each of the individual trials that we have forged.
So we as Blademasters have apprentices, which are part of that peerage, that will eventually ascend to become a Blademaster. So I want to have Feyne talk about what does it mean to be an apprentice.
Yeah. Am I loud enough now? Is this loud enough? Okay. I think in my mind, what it means to be a Blademaster, be an apprentice, it's for the diehards. It's for the people that love this game, want to keep playing it, and ultimately here to do cool shit, right? Doing hard stuff. It's fun. So the best apprentices are the ones that don't want to meet the standard. They want to exceed the standard. They're gung ho. You want to be a Blademaster? That's cool. I'd like to see you become one. But you got to take the initiative. The best apprentices are the ones that ask for more and apply what they're given and have fun doing it. And in whole, that bolsters the community. It bolsters great sword fighting. And, we're out here being fit and having fun. Mostly.
Once again, can you get a raise of hands who's an apprentice? So a lot of the apprentices are here. If one feels comfortable to come up here and talk a little bit about what does it mean to be apprentice to you as someone who's currently in the system, do we have any volunteers? Torben, you want to come up? Just like a minute or two.
In the center.
Hi everybody, I'm Blademaster Apprentice Torben, House Smoking Mirror. Bolvar is my direct Blademaster. So Blademaster Apprentice to me is like you're the epitome. Like it's what you want. Like it's the whole reason for grinding. It's this great tutorship of hi, we're holding on to handmade weapons. Let's teach you how to be the safest that you can about it, while also putting up the standard of like this is what the top of the echelon of red fighting can be. It's the hardest weapon set in my opinion, and these are like
Hey, so this is
how
Torben.
to be the best at.
Can you project
That's
more?
what it needs to be.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Torben.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, bro.
Going into that, we require a core set of trials that we're going to have Bolvar talk about.
Yeah. So we have 4 standard trials that are part of the overall pursuit, and then each house may have their own house-specific trials in addition to those 4. But the 4 are the main ones that each apprentice must go through in order to receive their overall ascension to Blademaster. The first trial is 2 parts. It is the trial of blood. First portion being blood on the field, and it is spending an entire day on the field to get 100 kills on that field same day, from sunup to sundown. Blademaster apprentices are permitted like a 65 or under, as well as a backshield or helmet to keep them safe, but it is a grind and pursuit to become lethal on that field. And then the second portion is 100 duels, to be seen by their Blademaster, to both build a relationship within the community by working around and building those connections with your fellow fighters, while also getting that opportunity to learn from each of those duels and overcome each individual fighter that you could be taking on. These type of scenarios are great when you get a good diversity of fighters to be coming through. It helps you build those connections with other areas that you may not get the same opportunity to interact with on a day-to-day basis in your local realms. So it's a great one for that too. The second official trial that we have is the Trial of Determination, which is what many of you will see after we run this today. And in that trial, a apprentice will be in a line, and they will be have a line of fighters to fight against, and they are tasked with killing 25 opponents within 10 minutes.
No simons.
Yep, no simul's, must be kills. Their opponents may use any non-range weapon, no armor for the test. Blademaster Apprentice is only allowed a red weapon 65 inches or less. The third trial is the Trial of Prowess. This is a newer one that we've been rolling out. We've had a couple of our apprentices trial this one through as well. And the current rendition of this one is to have 2 apprentices of 2 different houses taking the test simultaneously. They will do a 2 versus 5 against several well-rounded opponents, geared accordingly. And the apprentices will have 30 minutes to get 2 wins. And to pass that, Blademasters will be assessing their apprentices' performance and impact on the overall fights and their lethality in those situations. But it's an opportunity to intermingle the houses, to work with your fellow apprentices, and overcome a trial together in that same space, while also working through a disadvantaged situation. And then our final trial, the Trial of Masters. This is basically like a vibe check, or dueling all of your fellow Blademasters that are already there to see if you have finally earned your rights to be called a Blademaster. This is a ceremonious trial where you basically will fight each Blademaster one-on-one until the Blademasters basically have their way with you, seeing their seeing the sufficient things that they are looking for, right? Are you lethal? How do you take your hits? What are the things that you're showing up to say, I have earned this, effectively, to then be preceded by ceremonious elevation into that of Blademaster. So those are our 4 trials.
All Blademasters have the right and responsibility to make any of those 4 trials as hard or as difficult or as challenging as they wish.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into that. We're going to go with Lester talking about specifically stylistic differences between Blademasters, and also what does it mean to have style.
That's the question.
Just real quick to bring this in. Is there other trials involved with each houses?
Yeah.
Yes,
Each house
Good question.
will have their own personal house trials that may be education, may be crafting, it may be fighting in additional ones. Like, I have one that's an inter-trial with my apprentices. Ragefire has a 1 versus many trial. I do a bunch of education and crafting trials. It just depends on which house. They may have different feels and different flavors, which Lester will go through.
Flavors.
So as he was saying, even as we introduced ourselves, we said the name of our house, not only just for, cool points, but also, what we kind of excel at. As an apprentice or wanting to be an apprentice, we are going to assume that you know kind of the fundamentals of red. We're going to take, those and craft them and mold them even better. But ultimately, you are going to, pick, excuse me, who you want to be under, based on how they think, pollen, based on how they think they will adapt to you and help you grow. Like, I'm a very movement-oriented fighter. I naturally flock to Blademaster Dak, who could enhance that with me. But that coming with style as well is not only what you're going to learn, but eventually, as you're molded from all the knowledge that we have, when you are graduating, you are ultimately, even if you're the same house, gonna have your own style on things, and that's ultimately what leads you to now leaving your mark on the game, and then other apprentices or wannabe apprentices will see you and flock to you in that sense. And that's also too where they were saying the house trials come in. I customize my house trials based on my house tenants and what I feel I need to push my own apprentices on. So it's just another avenue of challenging them to help grow and mold them, and that's ultimately why we, like I say, the best style in this is just wanting to learn and soak up that knowledge. And we are also your resources. Go to each one of us, even if, Evias, my apprentices are under Evias, but they can still learn something from him to help mold them as well.
Great. You want to go over kind of the specific houses that we're into? So, yeah, just like to kind of give more structure to that context. So, House of the Smoking Mirror, not only is it fucking cool because we want to all make up cool stuff, but really, I think also a big part of becoming a Blademaster is that you need to have an understanding of what you physiologically and mentally are most aligned with in pursuing fighting. So, there's no order of operations that works for everybody because all of our bodies and the way we think are so different. So, really the houses are those styles from individuals that are sort of crystallized. But in the case, for me, I'm not a big dude. I have to win through deception, like coming out of the shadows, surprising, some like weird moves. For me, a big motivator for fighting is putting on a display, almost like dancing, like getting some crazy stuff pulled off because it feels fun and good. But Bolvar built totally different. This guy, wears 80 pounds of armor and punches dudes in the face in a ring. I'm not gonna do that. But you've taken this like Frankenstein monster's lich energy and combined it with a lot of the trickery. So the cool thing about the process is we're not trying to make anybody fit in a box. We're like, hey, here's the launching off point. This is where my thoughts were as I developed this. Have the same thoughts. I'm going to teach you the best bits of what I got from mine, and then kind of expand upon the definition of what we're doing. So, kind of got into the weeds there, but yeah, we're all about trickery, about deception, but at the end of the day, it's all about how our bodies and minds work best.
Yeah. And I'll just add on for the smoking mirror as well. The few of the things in that space are, I think the image that is a mirror is very symbolic in that space of reflection, right? It's both self-reflection, introspection in that space, assessing your opponent, kind of seeing what you want out of this game, and being very intentional about that opportunity as well. But when it comes to fighting, like you said, deception and feints are key there. I really look at it as conditioning opponents and being able to lay out multiple things that could be in your toolkit and getting them to be experienced to those, and so that they're always trying to guess what thing is actually real and what things actually lie to me.
Yeah.
And never really being able to know what is that discernible feature.
We won't go like full on into like talking about fighting training since that's not really our topic today, but completely in alignment with that. The reason that we have focused in on that, and I think something that's core in a lot of different ways with different approaches, about like at the end of the day, Red Sword is all about intentional energy usage, right? Your battery, it only has so much juice in it, and I think house has found a different way to apply that juice in the most effective way.
House Visceral Distortion, the way that I learned and like the way I've kind of adapted my own style is a way that we are going to take our opponent's fundamentals and completely warp or distort them. And as we said before, our motto is kind of an eye for two eyes, being able to put ourselves in position of self-sacrifice to get the kill, to get the win, and just to completely blow our opponent's mind in that sense. But it also transitions to your journey, like I make my apprentices cut out their eye at the beginning to show, their dedication of being able to break themselves down to become stronger, become better fighters, become better people, become better teachers, so that they can reflect that back. Because this isn't just an easy willy-nilly thing, like while there is service and other things that other Blademasters will have you do, these trials that we are setting you up for are huge milestones. And, even outside of this game has been reasons that I've eaten better, worked on my mental health, worked on my physical health to do this thing, so that's kind of the core tenet of my house in that regard.
For me, with Silver Eclipse, it's about balance. It's about being able to bring what you have on the field, but also have it bring it into the culture. I want people to be educated. I want people to be able to learn about the safety of red fighting, be able to be that person who, if you need a red sword, they can build you a safe one and be reasonable with it. Have that ability to have both aspects of offense and defense, to have balance in all things. And Eclipse is upon itself. And I want my apprentices and people who want to learn from me to understand that there is balance and there is harmony within both the sport, the game, and your mind.
With Burning Juyo, our motto is violent art towards a beautiful death. I think that as a red fighter, you're gonna die every time. On the field, you're heading towards death. You have a very non-optimal weapon set, so it's about making a statement with that life, that battle, that day of the event. People will remember you if you fight this style. It's about our unofficial model is when we're having fun, everyone else isn't. It's kind of a joke within the house, but yeah, it's overwhelming. You talk about the battery. I think the best fighting comes when the battery is empty. For me, a lot of people fight cold, calculated. I find that flow state for me comes from fighting very hot, riding that edge of emotion, but keeping the reins in control.
It's a different type of fighting when you're fighting with fumes.
Yeah, when you're fighting on fumes, another thing that I've said to my apprentices or other people is, when you have nothing left to burn, set yourself on fire. So it's a lot about like that like combustion and those moments. They're hard to make happen. It's very organic. You can't do it all the time, but it's about finding those moments and making the most of them.
I like to view my house as a smiting curtain of consternation. I want my opponents to feel as though they have no hope. And we wield like efficient lethality, but with, in a moment's notice, just lethal, brutal burst of strength and power. And through that, I kind of feel a mental philosophy grows that helps you make your way through life, really, by playing it out in this game and whatever else you can do. So it's a short but sweet one.
Yeah, I like that. I like it.
Is there anything you guys want to add before we go to Q&A?
Yeah. Red fighting is at its best. You have to fight with ill intent, right? Like you're trying to win and you have a big stick. And I will echo what I said earlier. You are going to probably hurt somebody, even if you're not fighting red. You're going to hit somebody in the face, whatever. When you're fighting in an aggressive way, take that time afterwards to say, hey man, good fight. If you just light somebody up. If you hit somebody in the face, walk off the field, make sure they're okay. Some people might be like, get the fuck away from me, and respect that. Go get a hero, go get a medic. Always, always, always take the high road. This goes beyond red fighting, but if you start arguing with somebody, nobody can tell the difference between you and the guy who might be wrong. So
You
just
also
take the
hit that person.
Huh?
Yeah. You also hit that person.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, don't go, I didn't do shit.
Off the field, you need to be like the archetype of a respectable and honorable person. Like taking shots is a skill as well. So like being honorable and just.
I know the word for that is like humility.
Yeah, humility. Absolutely.
1,000%. Right?
Yeah.
Really about smashing heads, all right? So I think a big reason that the whole Blademaster thing even started is because people like myself and Exo, I moved from Michigan to Washington, D.C. to live with my buddy to train swords. And we literally hit each other in the head so many times. And that's really what the Master Apprentice, I've ruined your face. Your wife wanted to kill me. Yeah, I love you. You're beautiful. But
You won't let me fight without a helmet when I'm fighting them.
yeah, and exactly. So working on it. But it's like you need to find a partner to work it out with, because other people don't deserve to be working it out with you while you're learning. Like I think that is a big core of what this is. Again, the humility. We're gonna blast each other in the face. We all have a million times, and we all mess up, but it's about how you react at the end of the day.
And it's not like an intentional thing. It is like
No.
It is because you trust each other to be a safe space, and like when you're trying to learn and experiment things, you know that there's some innate risk in experimentation, and you can do that in safe ways and conditional ways, and that is like it's not just hey we're gonna say just go bonk someone on the head and just say you're sorry afterwards as an acceptable thing. You're obviously always gonna try to get better, but they do happen. Even when you're trying to pursue, even as like masters. Like it's not something that we just suddenly you graduate to never being able to hit someone. Like
Hell work is important. Hell work is important.
Hell work is always important. Always refine your skills. Always look to be safe. Just like know that even when you're trying all those things can still happen. And in those situations, humility is key, and safety is key to make sure that those things are coming through.
You want to roll for Q&A?
Anyone have any particular questions they have for us?
Who approaches who? Say I am interested in one of you as my Blademaster. Do I try to get your attention, or do you come to me?
You have to write me a love letter.
Yeah.
I have to check a box, yes or no.
The other guys might do something different. The initiative is on the Apprentice. They should ask you.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time training somebody who's going to take it half the part. I don't know, like a teacher guy, right? If you want it, you ask us. Not like in a pretentious way, but how else are we supposed to know? And
Yeah.
we also want to make sure like you are the right fit for whoever you're asking. Like what I do with my apprentices, like when they ask me and approach me, I go talk to all of them first, because that's what was told to me by mine, to make sure that you are the right fit.
That's a big one, because like a lot of his teaching style, like I'm very laissez-faire, so it's like you got to be self-motivated, and we will work together. But there are some Blademasters that have incredible structure and keep you on a path if that's what you require. So it is about a personality fit.
If you don't like homework, don't go with me.
Yeah. If you hate homework, go with our house.
But Ragefire is so scary. How do I approach it?
Spear, 9-foot spear. Archer maybe. Yeah.
You put the note on it.
Yeah. Or from behind. From behind also.
Gordon, have a question?
More of a fleshing out what he's asking. With Feyne, I asked a long time before I was taken on.
Yeah.
And I kept asking, and I was like, I'm not saying this for everybody, but I went home and I wrote an in-lore scroll, dyed it with tea bags, burnt the edges, sealed it with my wax seal, and I was like, it was like my Hail Mary.
Drove to Ohio.
Drove to Ohio, to a bed I'd never been at, hand delivered it, and basically was like, "There's my Hail Mary," and then he was like, "All right, fuck it."
Hell yeah. That's so cool. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
drive and just the willingness to learn is
Yeah,
the
I
number
think
one thing.
I think that's a big. It's like a lifestyle choice essentially, because how long did the first generation take? Was it 6 years?
Well, we had COVID too.
I
It was
had
about, it was
COVID
about
too.
6, yeah.
But with COVID, which really screwed up. But like, that was extra long because the first generation we were figuring it out together and building it together. It's still going to take a while to get to those benchmarks that you want to be
I
at.
think it's really fair to say it does take a long time, because we're not just checking boxes on a list. We're wielding not only our swords but also an aura, right?
Yeah.
It's about the demeanor too.
Yeah,
Not a feather in the cap.
yeah. Try not to treat it like a feather in the cap. And like for the artistry of it, it's like we're trying to create a group where it's like, you got to have a little bit of the Lord of War vibe going on. You got to at least at some point be able to just tear through tons and tons of people and do crazy shit.
Gotta have the grit.
Yeah, you gotta have the grit, and that takes work, and it just a group of like-minded people, Cool.
Before somebody would approach you, what would you say somebody needs to work on before they even consider trying to take onto a house and take onto a Blademaster? What's some personality, maybe not on the field, but more like the headspace and personality traits to work on yourself before even trying to ask?
So I got one that I'm gonna throw out before we hand it around. 'Cause I think we got a lot for this one. Personally, buy a steel mace.
Conditioning is where I think it's going.
Yes,
okay?
conditioning. Yes, not a real, don't kill people, but like an exercise steel mace. Find out what weight works for you best. But it's for those of you who haven't seen, it's like a stick about yay long, 4 feet long, with a heavy ball weight on the top. And you can start with like a 10 or a 15. It's a lot heavier than you think because you're doing this motion with it, right? And you're strengthening your core. Conditioning. So it's like that's a very specific one that Bolvar and I discovered that to be like it's a 1-to-1. It's a 1-to-1. So start conditioning there. Start conditioning physically, because right off the rip, when you approach somebody, the first thing they're going to want to do is put you through your bases and watch you just grind it out. And if you can't,
You have to take care of your body.
Exactly.
You can't destroy your body. Like, you're going to destroy your body along the way, but like you have to know
Strengthen it,
how
though.
to strengthen it and take care of it.
Yeah.
To make sure that you.
There's a lot
can
coming from my
endure
soft
a lot of
body
trouble.
ass, but like,
Your question was asking about mental and personality.
Oh,
But that's a good point too,
Yeah.
because if you
That
don't,
is part of the mental,
if
though.
you can't put your headspace into taking care of your body, that's a good.
That's the mentality. So I
Yeah.
guess that's the short of it is you have to be about self-improvement and strengthening yourself.
I wouldn't say that that's innately a prerequisite, but something that is good to make sure that you're thinking of as you're pursuing
right.
it overall. Because it's definitely something that as you're executing on it, you can find it applies more and more benefits to.
I definitely say that you want to be a red sword main. Not saying you can't be a glaive fighter or do sword and board on the side or whatever it is. But Blademastership is about using a red sword. That 65 and under is really what the prime aspect is. Not saying that like there's some people like everyone here is also great with glaives, but we have that passion for red sword.
Yeah.
Well, on that point, and still kind of connected to what your question was, also part of the mentality is we from experience have noticed that like anything much longer than a sword for this for me is like probably the max length that I would call a sword for my height. Everything you can learn on this can go up that's not the truth for with blade. It doesn't go down. So the goal of like the program initially was like to get you have to spend that uncomfortable time on this or shorter to be able to really do anything. And that's yeah, exactly. Min red's the best learning tool.
The way I always like to put it is that like if I think of red sword, I should think of you. And if I think of you, I should think of red sword.
Yes, yeah.
And you can probably be an apprentice then.
Part of your brand. You got to make it like part of your brand.
To also tag on to what you asked, when you are an apprentice, you're representing that person in that house, and like they chose you, so you're a representation of that. So you should not be somebody they have to go answer to the heralds for. This dude cracked 10 people in the head and told them all to get fucked. Like, you want to be a good person. Like, I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but you don't want them to excuse you. You don't want them to wonder where the fuck you are when you're supposed to do your trial or go spar. Like, you need to be a student. And you yeah, exactly.
Yeah, student
I don't know if
mentality.
any of you have ever seen the movie Fight Club, but there's a scene where there's a dude who wants to join Fight Club and they make him stand on the front porch for like 2 days straight. That's what you need to do. You need to show that you're willing to do it.
The other thing to think about too is like you need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are as a fighter as well. Like spend some time doing self-reflection and analysis so that way you can really think about the things that you suck at, the things that you're good at. Like part of pursuing these Blademasters is also like, yes, what is their leadership style? Do I like them? Are they really cool? Do they have a cool fighting style? But what can I learn from them, right? And when you're thinking through, hey, this is an area in my game that is maybe like a lower deficiency that I want to raise up and grow and improve in, and I say, cool, I want to learn some cool spins or some cool off-angle attacks, I'm going to go spend some time with Evias. Do I want to learn how to throw down with some fucking intensity? Like I might go like spend some time with like Ragefire for things. Like what are you wanting to work on? What are these Blademasters have to offer? And just because one Blademaster may be able to offer one thing doesn't mean that you also can't spend some time with another Blademaster saying, can you also feature these things? But really when you're pursuing that primary Blademaster, think about that space of what can you perceive of your own fighting thus far, and what things do you really want to continue to improve in is the big focus.
Very good.
Does that answer?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went around everywhere, but
Because
yeah.
your determination and your persistence is your greatest tool. You know, like take Gorg's example. He just pestered and pestered to show that you wanted it. We're also gonna like maybe just watch. Like we'll keep an eye on you. We all pay attention to that. We'll even talk amongst ourselves. Like, hey, what do you think about so and so joining so and so type of thing. And along with that too, like the biggest question I think that you could ask yourself is, why do you want to be a Blademaster? And you telling us that, whoever you come to, like that's for me the biggest thing. Like that we're really going to consider that, because it's not just like, oh, I want to get really cool at red fighting. I've been doing it for this long. I think it'd be good learning from you. It's like, all right, cool. But then the guy that's bothering me all the time, telling me what he wants his end game goal for everything to be, is the one I'm going to kind of pay a little bit more attention to.
It's our responsibility to make that goal happen. So,
well, we're working with you, but we can't want it more than you do. Like,
yeah.
But we're going to do everything we can that if you are determined and you're going to want to make that happen, we will bend over backwards to make sure that you have everything that you need to be successful in doing it.
Do we have any more questions?
Do you think it's a better idea to pursue something that you feel you're already good at, or should you try to push yourself to do something you think you're weak at?
Stylistically or weapon combo?
Stylistically.
I think we might all have different answers, but I think first you should pursue what you're good at. You need to have a solid foundation about every aspect, but you need to take what you are naturally inclined at and take it to the highest extreme before starting to take a different approach. How I feel.
Yeah, I think you can go either way. I think you can build a foundation to be pretty good baseline and find areas that you're good and make definitely like incentivize and enhance those, because those are the things that like, what's your body shape and mechanically what are you more able to achieve? Those things are going to influence the opportunities and the decisions that you make when you're fighting.
There's like a lot of cool things Feyne does that I'm like, I'm not like a super beast. Like, I literally can't super
If I
beast.
can throw those big one-handed
you
red
don't really
wraps
wanna
as
train on
fluidly,
it.
then absolutely lean into that, because that's something that you have. But like if that's something where, hey, I have like tendon issues and me being able to throw those like wraps isn't really going to be a feasible option, then don't worry about using those. Find things that are comfortable, but yeah, take advantage of what you do have the confidence to. As with everything, like know one fighter on this field is the same as the next fighter. That's why when we go onto the field, we generally will talk strategy and be like, hey, you take that fighter, I take this fighter. I think that I maybe will have a better matchup for it. Those are innate bonuses that you can take advantage of. And it's good to have the strengths and what you can feel you're equipped to handle, and know that what you're not equipped to handle. You can still work on those things that you're not equipped to handle, but oftentimes you can get more benefit from really playing the things that you have strength with.
My answer is dabble in both.
Yeah.
Long story short.
My key feature is I don't care how good or bad or whatever, it's about your passion. If you're not passionate about something, don't worry about it. Do what you find that you have the passion for, because you're going to find the most success you have with it, and even if you are bad at it, you're going to want to get better. And that's going to make you go further than you were before.
That's good advice. And like the fact that we all literally have totally different answers is kind of the whole house thing.
Yeah.
Like we've all, I feel like, you know, we all operate at the same level of competence, which is completely different, you know, and different applications as well. So it's kind of the fun of it.
100%.
Any other questions? We're ready to swing stick?
Yeah, we can wrap it up, do some soft spars around here. What you need? Combat stuff. Cool. Well, thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.